declining senior living.
On World News Tonight this Sunday, hiding in plain sight. New details about the hijackers and how they lived among us. What else were they plotting? U.S. warplanes and ships are moving into position in Central Asia. As concerns about the economy mount, so do the pink slips. And thousands gather at New York's Yankee Stadium to pray for the victims of the terrorist attacks.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight, Sunday.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carol Simpson. Tonight, new details are emerging in the investigation of the terrorist attacks in New York and Washington. As more is learned about the hijackers' commercial flight training, ABC's Brian Ross on another type of training the hijackers sought, how to operate crop-dusting planes. Brian?
It's of great concern, Carol. Crop-dusting planes throughout the country and a new development in Florida. As recently as the Saturday before the attacks, suspected hijack ringleader Mohammed Atta was here at a crop-dusting airfield in Belglade, Florida, asking how big a load of chemicals such planes could hold.
Very persistent about wanting to know how much the airplane would haul, how fast it'll go, what kind of range it has.
Chief Pilot Willie Lee and others at the airfield identified Atta for the FBI. Lee says Atta and more than a dozen other men had come repeatedly to the airfield, and that his ground crew chief had to order Atta away from the planes.
The guy kept trying to get in the airplane, and there was nobody there but the ground crew. Everybody had gone. And he said that he just had to run him away from the airplane because he kept trying to get up on the wing, want to get in the cockpit and so forth.
Federal authorities fear the presence of Atta here is yet another indication that the terrorists may have planned or may still plan to use such crop dusters to launch some kind of chemical or biological attack. Author Ward Carroll is a U.S. Navy commander.
Things like anthrax spores are easily transported, easily put into a solution that could be dispensed out of a crop duster.
Previously unguarded, police are now stationed at this field 24 hours a day, and crop dusters around the country's 30 biggest cities have been grounded since September 11th. The FBI continues to search for as many as 30 suspects said to be at large and flight trained. And ABC's Pierre Thomas at the Justice Department reports tonight that one of the men now under arrest as a material witness was found with a crop dusting manual in his belongings. Carol?
Thank you very much, Brian Ross. FBI investigators have also been focusing a great deal of attention on a city just across the Hudson River in New Jersey. ABC's John Miller joins me now. John, what about New Jersey?
ABC News has learned, Carol, during the last 3 months prior to the attack, 11 of the 19 hijackers lived in or near Paterson, New Jersey, a community just 25 miles from the World Trade Center. Investigators believe Paterson was the base for a major terrorist cell.
ABC News has learned that this building, 486 Union Avenue in Paterson, New Jersey, was home to as many as 6 of the terrorists until just days before the attacks. The third-floor apartment was rented for the last 6 months by 2 of the hijackers of Flight 77 that slammed into the Pentagon, Nawak Al-Hamzi and Hani Hanjour. But here, they were hardly noticed.
They never talk to anybody.
Never talk to anybody?
Nah, never.
Patterson has a large Muslim community, but the terrorists who lived here kept to themselves. They had no furniture and made their calls from this payphone.
There was really quiet guys. All we used to see at nighttime was guys coming in and then coming out. That's what we used to see.
At least 2 of the hijackers stayed at this motel in Wayne, New Jersey, and at nearby airports, some rented small planes for flight practice. Other hijackers, using phony names and addresses, rented cars for long road trips.
There was nothing suspicious about them. They were typical business-like people that wanted to rent a vehicle. But now we're looking at a form like this and saying, okay, where did he go in 3 days? Where did he put 1,100 miles on? Yeah, we do a lot of speculation.
FBI agents are also looking at records from 3 banks near Paterson where the hijackers kept money. And they're looking for where that money came from.
And investigators are still trying to learn if there are others involved who were not killed on September 11th, and if they can be found. Carol?
Thank you very much. ABC's John Miller. President Bush says the country is gearing up to fight a new kind of war. Special forces will play a key role. But as ABC's John McWethy reports, all weekend long, American bombers and warships have been moving into position.
The most visible preparations are America's bombers. All weekend, B-52s and B-1s have been taking off for the region. They will be in place by midweek, sources say, along with several aircraft carriers. But they are not the key to stopping terrorist leader Osama bin Laden.
Is it likely that an aircraft carrier or a cruise missile is going to find a person? No, it's not likely. That isn't how this is going to happen.
Though airstrikes are anticipated, it's U.S. soldiers on the ground that are central to this effort. Sources tell ABC News that small teams of specially trained commandos are now in 2 countries just north of Afghanistan, Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. Their jobs slip across the border and hunt for bin Laden, using help of Afghan guerrillas who have been fighting their own war with the Taliban for several years.
The trick is learning the enemy. How do you go dig him out, identify him, and then do what you need to do to put him out of business?
Government sources say the CIA is already at work in Afghanistan, gathering intelligence, flying small unmanned spy planes, one of which the Taliban claims they shot down.
The United States has in fact lost contact, I should say, with a unmanned aerial vehicle. We have no reason to believe it was shot down.
A week-long debate over whether to hit targets beyond just Afghanistan appears to be over. The Pentagon wanted to go after Iraq and even terrorist camps in Lebanon, with the State Department arguing that could destroy world support.
The president has examined all the options available to him, and he has decided to go after the al-Qaeda network, to go after the head of it, Osama bin Laden.
Other targets the president has now decided must wait. That leaves the huge task of going after Osama bin Laden and his inner circle in Afghanistan. The Taliban leaders today miraculously said they didn't know where any of them were. That's a notion Defense Secretary Rumsfeld called laughable. Carol?
John, thank you. ABC's John McWethy at the Pentagon. Late last night, President Bush lifted sanctions that have barred Pakistan and India from receiving economic and military assistance. They were imposed after the 2 nations tested nuclear weapons in 1998. Pakistan and India are now crucial to the president's declared war on terrorism. At New York's Yankee Stadium today, the victims of the World Trade Center attack were remembered. An interfaith service attended by thousands turned the ballpark in the Bronx into a place of prayer. ABC's Dan Harris is there.
In a stadium filled with anguish, prayers were offered by Catholics, Muslims, Sikhs, and Jews.
We saw terrorism bring the World Trade Center to ground zero, but we saw heroism bring ground zero into the heavens.
On stage, luminaries such as Placido Domingo, Oprah Winfrey, James Earl Jones, former President Clinton, and Mayor Rudy Giuliani.
The proud twin towers that once crowned our famous skyline no longer stand, but our skyline will rise again.
In the crowd, regular people confronting incalculable loss. People such as the family of Myrna Maldonado, who worked for the Port Authority on the 71st floor of World Trade Center Tower number 1.
When the building crumbled, you know, part of my heart was crumbling with it.
Before leaving for the service, her family said a prayer. Nearly 2 weeks after the attacks, they are wrestling between logic and hope. So in your mind, she's missing, not gone.
Absolutely missing.
They came to see that they are not isolated in their agony.
Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're every
City officials had initially planned for a memorial service in Central Park for today with a possible attendance of 1 million people. They scaled back because of security concerns. Even with the scaled back prayer service here at Yankee Stadium, security was exceedingly tight. Every bag was searched and the airspace above the stadium was restricted. Carol?
Thank you. Dan Harris reporting from New York's Yankee Stadium. In Lower Manhattan, where the World Trade Center once stood, it is a rescue mission in name only. Heavy equipment has replaced the bucket brigades. Today, Mayor Giuliani said again there was little hope of finding more survivors. Before President Bush returned to the White House from Camp David today, he took a moment to mark the end of the mourning period for those killed in the attacks, as Marine Guards raised the U.S. flag to full staff. And we'll be back in a moment.
The Heartburn Hotel. If you suffer persistent heartburn 2 days a week or more, despite diet change and treatment, it may be acid reflux disease. Prescription Prevacid can mean 24-hour relief from acid reflux disease. Prevacid turns off tiny pumps that produce acid. It has a low occurrence of side effects, such as diarrhea, abdominal pain, and nausea. Ask your doctor if Prevacid is right for you.
So leave your heartburn behind, yeah!
Ted, call on line 1.
Thanks, Aaron. This is Ted.
Hey, Teddy boy. How you doing?
Good. What's going on?
Just coming up with some more great ideas to make you look good.
What do you got?
Something big. Let's get together tonight.
What time?
11 o'clock. Meet me at my place.
Imagine combining the stain-fighting power of Efferdent and freshening power of Listerine. You'd get Efferdent Plus. It's extra fresh, and nothing gets your dentures cleaner. Efferdent Clean, Listerine Fresh. That's Efferdent Plus.
You've never felt relief that lasts like this before.
It's amazing.
The revolutionary new Icy Hot Patch. Concentrated pain relief that's icy first to dull the pain, then hot to relax it away for hours of relief.
It's fantastic how long it works.
The freedoms Americans have known are undergoing major revisions in the name of security. From football games to the water supply to nuclear power plants, new procedures are in place. ABC's Mike Von Fremd reports.
In the first NFL football game since the terrorist attack, security was tight at stadiums across the country as guards checked and rechecked everything fans carried inside.
We're looking for weapons like knives, anything sharp.
Here in Dallas, fans waited patiently to enter Texas Stadium.
If you don't have anything to hide, you don't have anything to be afraid of.
Fear of another attack by planes has prompted the FAA to ban all blimps and airplanes from towing advertising over sporting events. All airspace within 3 miles of professional and collegiate stadiums is now closed. 26 military bases across the country are now protecting American cities and borders from the sky. Along the Potomac River and in important waterways, the Coast Guard is now on alert. 30% of the nation's oil moves through the Houston Ship Channel, which is lined with crucial refineries.
Crews are out there looking for unusual events in the port, ensuring that heightened security measures are being followed strictly.
There are additional guards at the nation's 103 nuclear power plants. Security experts say America must now re-examine how it protects everything.
We've been defeated by a low-tech, high-concept approach. And to beat them, we need to have our technology, but we also need to have high concept. So we need to beat them by thinking.
Terrorists have an infinite number of targets. Protecting as many as possible without totally disrupting private life is the new challenge. Mike Von Fremd, ABC News, Dallas. The New York Police Department's own Emerald Society pipes and drums at Yankee Stadium today. And please stay with us.
That's
4 new pedigree little champions. Gently prepared, then sealed in our revolutionary flavor lock pouch. For the home-cooked taste dogs love.
Yeah. What are you doing in there? I'll be right there.
Dear Aleve, back pain made it tough to get out of bed, and every pain reliever I tried quit too soon. Then my daughter told me about Aleve.
Aleve can stop pain all day with just 2 pills. That would take 8 Tylenol.
I wanted everyone to see just how grateful I am. Thanks, Aleve.
Ouch! Pain again? I thought your dentist said brush with Sensodyne every day.
I stopped when the pain stopped.
Keep using it. It keeps working.
Sensodyne every day. Now try Sensodyne Tartar Control Plus Whitening every day.
Our guarantee is our promise.
We have the power to make sure you love your glasses.
If you're not happy with your glasses, you can bring them back. No questions.
That's what LensCrafters 30-day money-back guarantee is all about.
We make glasses in about an hour, but you always have 30 days to make up your mind.
Every hour, every day, we're helping someone see.
What's as gentle as Senecot natural vegetable laxatives? With 100% natural Senna, Senecot tablets offer overnight relief from occasional constipation gently. Senecot works gently, works overnight.
In the old days, athlete's foot meant using Lotrimin AF or Tenactin for 4 whole weeks.
Who does that? Today, Lamisil AT kills the fungus with just 1 week's use.
And keeps you athlete's foot free for 3 months.
Lamisil AT, the best way to cure athlete's foot.
The financial fallout from the attack on the World Trade Center was clear on Wall Street last week. But what about the service industries? Jobs and a sense of security are disappearing at an alarming rate, as ABC's Judy Muller reports.
It began with the airline industry. More than 110,000 jobs cut in 1 week. The trickle-down effect has been more like a deluge.
We went from the terrible terrorist attack to the next week not having any jobs.
Camille Cochran used to work at the LA airport parking garage, now closed for security reasons. Her husband is the union's shop steward.
One day we laid off 351 people. It was like the World Trade Center all over again. The horror on people's faces.
Travel agents have taken a huge hit as well. At Advanced Travel, 10% of the staff is gone.
We're not getting any money in from the airlines. Our commissions are not coming in from the airlines. And people aren't traveling.
They're not staying in hotels either. Room service waiter Johannes Gezu got his pink slip from the Chicago Sheraton right after the terrorist attack.
The next day they told me stay home. And I said, why? They told me this happened and people are not coming anymore.
From skycaps to waiters, it's the working poor who are hardest hit.
We are seeing people who, this is often the first stop for employment, being thrown out of work. They do not have savings.
With travel and tourism down from Manhattan to Santa Monica, even the street vendors are feeling the pinch. Unless, of course, they happen to be selling topical T-shirts. T-shirt and flag makers are actually hiring people. And outplacement specialist John Challenger says security firms are another good bet.
Every building is going to enhance its security. That's going to cause certainly a lot of hiring.
Switching from a service economy to a security economy may seem drastic, but no more drastic than the events that brought it about. Judy Muller, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In Dover, Delaware, 140,000 NASCAR fans showed the flag as singer Tanya Tucker sang God Bless America. And we'll have more news in a moment.
White with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
You know when you're not feeling like yourself. You're tired all the time. You may feel sad, hopeless, and lose interest in things you once loved. You may feel anxious, can't even sleep. Your daily activities and relationships suffer. You know when you just don't feel right. Now here's something you may not know. These are some symptoms of depression, a serious medical condition affecting over 20 million Americans. While the cause is unknown, depression may be related to an imbalance of naturally occurring chemicals between nerve cells in the brain. Zoloft, a prescription medicine, works to correct this imbalance. When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right. Only your doctor can diagnose depression. Zoloft is not for everyone. People taking medicines called MAOI shouldn't take Zoloft. Side effects may include dry mouth, insomnia, sexual side effects, diarrhea, nausea, and sleepiness. Zoloft is not habit-forming. Talk to your doctor about Zoloft, the #1 prescribed brand of its kind. Zoloft. When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right.
What's as gentle as Senecot natural vegetable laxatives? With 100% natural Senna, Senecot tablets offer overnight relief from occasional constipation gently. Senecot works gently, works overnight.
Pete Sampras knows about One-A-Day's new active multivitamin with more B vitamins and ginseng to enhance energy. One-A-Day. Get active, stay active.
Daddy?
Hey!
Why are you eating my Cheerios?
They help lower Daddy's cholesterol. They're good for Daddy's heart.
Whole grain oat Cheerios is the only leading cold cereal clinically proven to help lower cholesterol in a low-fat diet.
It's a cholesterol thing.
In Afghanistan, opposition forces claimed they seized more territory from the Taliban government. The Northern Alliance, still recognized by the UN as the legitimate government, says it is moving toward a major Taliban city, Mazar-Sharif. The Taliban control about 90% of Afghanistan, a desperately poor nation where the average lifespan for men is 46 years, 45 for women. The Taliban took power over most of the country 6 years ago in a bloody civil war. They won some popular support for bringing stability and order after years of chaos and corruption. But it came at a great social cost. Under the Taliban's vision of a perfect Islamic state, adulterers are executed in public. All forms of entertainment are banned. Girls are denied education. Women cannot work and often cannot get medical care. The Taliban earned worldwide condemnation this year for blowing up 2 ancient statues of Buddha. Afghanistan's people have endured years of drought, famine, and war. It is one of the poorest nations in the world. And the Taliban's refusal to hand Osama bin Laden over to the United States may now bring further suffering. For years, thousands of Afghanis have been fleeing to the borders because of the harsh rule of the Taliban. But the U.S. threat has unleashed a new torrent of refugees. ABC's Hillary Brown is on Pakistan's border with Afghanistan.
On Pakistan's northwest border with Afghanistan, thousands of Afghans are penned up on the other side, desperate to get away from a country in panic. Only those with the money to bribe a guard are getting through. People are very frightened, says this man, and the Taliban is drafting the men. They're trying to stop us all from leaving. Though Pakistan says it has sealed its border with Afghanistan, the frontier, which is a vast, windswept, mountainous region, is actually like a sieve. Afghan refugees, terrified of American attack, can just slip across the border at night and then melt away into the huge refugee community here. Already, almost half the population of the border city of Quetta is Afghan. They've been coming here for 20 years to escape war, drought, and famine. These new arrivals are the poorest of the poor. Hanifa, who was once a teacher, spent her life savings to get out of Kabul and across the border with her husband and 5 children. This is all she has left, 30,000 Afghanis. That's 50 cents. Life is miserable in Kabul, she says. Both the Taliban and Osama bin Laden should be out of Afghanistan. But back at the border, the Afghan owner of a busy tea shop works with a large picture of bin Laden on the wall, next to a row of pin-ups that includes at least one well-known Western actress. Wherever the Muslims are in trouble, he asserts, Osama is helping them. It's pretty clear that not every Afghan agrees with him. Hillary Brown, ABC News, on the border of Afghanistan.
And we'll be back in a moment.
I've always been a fighter, and I don't like to lose. So when I found out I could lose up to 25% of my bone due to menopause, you bet I was going to fight back. I had a strong ally who prescribed Actonel, our weapon. Actonel can reverse bone loss and helps your bones become more fracture resistant. Only Actonel is proven to reduce spinal fractures in the very first year.
Actonel is a non-hormonal prescription medicine for postmenopausal women at risk for osteoporosis. You should not take Actonel if you have low blood calcium, severe kidney disease, or cannot sit or stand for 30 minutes. Follow dosing instructions carefully. Stop taking Actonel and tell your doctor if you experience difficult or painful swallowing, chest pain, or severe continuing heartburn, as these may be signs of serious upper digestive problems. Find out if you're at risk for osteoporosis. Then ask your doctor if Actonel is right for you.
By this time next year, you can have more fracture-resistant bones. Act now with Actonel.
The Heartburn Hotel. If you suffer persistent heartburn 2 days a week or more, despite diet change and treatment, it may be acid reflux disease. Prescription Prevacid can mean 24-hour relief from acid reflux disease. Prevacid turns off tiny pumps that produce acid. It has a low occurrence of side effects, such as diarrhea, abdominal pain, and nausea. Ask your doctor if Prevacid is right for you.
So leave your heartburn behind, yeah!
ABC Tonight, 9/8 Central. The Practice 2-hour movie event.
He just showed up in your bed dead?
Yes. You'll be convicted, Senator.
They've got you. Shut up!
I can't win this. People love me. The Practice season premiere tonight at a special time, 9/8 Central on ABC.
Finally, violinist Isaac Stern died from heart failure in New York yesterday. He was 81. ABC's Bill Blakemore looks back on Stern's long career.
Isaac Stern, wrote one critic, played with unflagging rhythm and tempos on the fast side. That's also how he lived his life, in the one city that could match his fast tempos, New York. Though raised in San Francisco, when he played New York City's Carnegie Hall at 23, he found his natural home in Manhattan's many cultural crosscurrents.
He is a dynamo of applied energy.
Teaching, always teaching, and mentor to generations of talented young ones, such as Yo-Yo Ma, Itzhak Perlman.
Isaac's music can be heard not only from his own bow, but from the bows of dozens of young musicians he has helped to promote.
He fought for human rights and artistic freedom. He played around the world, from Chicago to China. When Carnegie Hall was going to be knocked down for office blocks, no way, he said, and raised millions to save it.
It's a place that once you have come to belong, then the world accepts you. It has been that way, and it will be that way.
So abundant the talent of Isaac Stern, it overflowed as he poured his soul into institutions, into his students, and especially into his violin. Bill Blakemore, ABC News, New York.
And that's our report. I'm Carol Simpson. Good night.
This is ABC.
The world gets ready for a fight against terrorism. Good evening. I'm Deanna Connell. Thanks for joining us. Reactions from around the world are mixed as the United States prepares for an all-out fight against terrorism. Here's a look at the latest. The Saudi base the U.S. chose as its Mideast Command and Control Center has been declared off limits for action linked to America's anti-terrorism offensive. Saudi Arabia is concerned about possible strikes on a fellow Arab state, not just Afghanistan. In Yemen,
the first step in freezing the finances of those who spread terror. And the president orders all flags flown at full staff. It's time now, he says, for the nation to get past the fear and show the world that nothing can stop us. Well, the flags are flying as the rescue continues. We go now to Jeff Goldblatt at Ground Zero in New York City. Jeff.